Sometimes the hardest chapters of your life are just the beginning of a story you never saw coming, one filled with purpose, growth, and a future far greater than you ever imagined. Have you ever felt like life is moving in slow motion, as if you're stuck on the same page of a story that's no longer fulfilling? Or perhaps you've reached a moment where it feels like everything is falling apart, relationships, dreams, even your sense of purpose, and you're wondering, what's next? You're not alone. We've all been there. But I want to remind you today, right where you are, that the ending you fear is not the end at all. It's just the turning of a page. And with that page comes a new chapter filled with more hope, strength, and purpose than you can imagine. In this video, we're going to explore what it means when life feels like it's in transition, and how those transitions are actually leading you toward something greater. We're going to dive deep into the spiritual truth that every ending is a divine setup for a new beginning, and how to embrace the unknown with faith and courage. Stick with me until the end, because what we're about to uncover will not only inspire you, but transform the way you look at your own journey. Trust me, this new chapter is waiting for you. It's time to turn the page. Every ending is a divine setup for a new beginning. It may feel like a door has slammed shut or that the ground beneath your feet has shifted, but you are not being abandoned. You are being positioned. What you thought was a loss is actually a transition. What seemed like failure is making way for fruitfulness. So many times in life, we hold on to the familiar because it feels safe, even if it no longer serves us. We cling to relationships, environments, patterns, and places that once made sense, but now feel stale. And when life removes these things, we often experience grief, confusion, or even bitterness. But the truth is, when a chapter ends, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. There is purpose in the pages of your life, and not one line has been wasted. The heartbreak, the delays, the detours, they were all necessary parts of the story. Endings are not always neat. They don't always come with clear closure. Sometimes they come through silence. Sometimes they come through being overlooked or forgotten. Other times they come with a loud crash, the sudden job loss, the relationship that ends, the plan that falls apart. And yet, behind every closed curtain is a stage being set for something greater than you imagined. You are not forgotten in the silence of your ending. In fact, it's in those quiet, uncertain spaces that your next chapter begins. When you feel like you're in the in-between, that's the place where transformation happens. That's where your character is being shaped. That's where your vision is being cleared. That's where distractions fall away and deeper truths rise to the surface. You start to see what really matters. You realize who you truly are, not based on titles, connections, or achievements, but based on resilience, grace, and growth. Sometimes we pray for change, and when it comes, we resist it. We ask for growth, but we don't expect the pruning. We want promotion, but we forget that something often has to end first. That's the sacred paradox. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. But those endings are necessary, because unless something dies, something else cannot be born. That dream that seems delayed, it's being refined. That opportunity that passed you by, it wasn't the right one. The people who walked away, they were only meant for the previous chapter, not the one that's coming. You can't carry old mindsets into new seasons. You can't walk through the next open door while holding on to what's behind you. Do I stay where it's comfortable but stagnant? Or do I walk into the unknown, trusting that I'm being led into something greater? This is where faith becomes real, not when everything is certain, but when you choose to believe that the author of your story knows exactly what he's doing. Every ending is strategic. It's not random. It's not chaos. It's a signal, a signpost, a holy transition. And if you lean in with open hands and a willing heart, you'll begin to recognize the beauty in it. You'll stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start saying, "What is this preparing me for?" Because when one thing ends, something else is always beginning. Not always immediately, not always visibly, but it's there, it's forming, it's waiting for you to let go of the old page so the next one can be turned. You are being moved, shaped, positioned, not punished. It may feel like loss, but it's a setup. The pain of the ending cannot compare to the glory of the beginning that's coming. And when it unfolds, when the page turns, you will realize that none of it was in vain. You'll see the fingerprints of purpose all over what felt like rejection. You'll look back and thank the moment that forced you to move forward, because the end was never the end. It was just the turning of the page. You're not stuck. You're being shifted. What feels like stillness, like a delay, like your life is on pause, is often the sacred work of realignment. It's easy to mistake divine movement for stagnation when your eyes are fixed on what's not happening, rather than what is happening beneath the surface. Sometimes the lack of visible progress can convince you that nothing is changing, but in truth, everything is being restructured for your next season. You are being shifted out of patterns, people, and places that can no longer carry the weight of your calling. You are being gently moved, even if it feels like you're being torn, so you can walk in alignment with something greater than your past. It is uncomfortable when the familiar no longer fits. It's unsettling when your spirit outgrows the room you've been in. You begin to feel restless, uneasy, even discontented in spaces you once celebrated. That's not a sign of failure. That's the signal of a shift. It's your soul recognizing that you were never meant to stay where you started. Growth always brings tension. Maturity demands movement, and when you're being shifted, things around you start to shift too. People change. Doors close. Opportunities dry up. The routines that once brought peace now feel empty. That's the moment you must choose not to panic, but to perceive. Because not all change is punishment. Some change is positioning. Being shifted means that you are no longer allowed to play small. The level of comfort you once called home becomes the very place you're called to leave. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've outgrown it. Just as a seed breaks through the soil to find the sun, so must you break out of the shell of your last season. The process might feel like pressure. It might come with resistance. But that's what it takes to rise. Being shifted means letting go of what you thought you needed, so you can receive what's truly yours. It means your prayers are being answered, not in the way you imagined, but in the way that will make you whole. Sometimes, when nothing makes sense and you're tempted to doubt your direction, that's the very evidence that you are being moved from where you were to where you are destined to go. The terrain is unfamiliar because you've never walked this path before. But just because it's unfamiliar doesn't mean it's unsafe. It means you're growing into something new. It means the ground is shifting to make room for you. It means you are being transitioned into alignment with the next level of purpose. And purpose is not always preceded by clarity. It's often preceded by chaos. Don't be discouraged by the disorientation. The confusion is not an indication of your destruction. It's an invitation to trust. You are not forgotten in this process. You are not being overlooked. You are being lifted. You are being carved out for something that carries eternal weight. Sometimes, the shift will come in silence, through days where it feels like your prayers are echoing into the void. Other times, it comes with disruption, when everything familiar falls apart. But whether it arrives quietly or loudly, the shift is always strategic. It's never random. It's tailored specifically to your journey. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't fall behind. You're not stuck. You're being set apart. There will be people who can't understand your shift. They'll wonder why you're no longer content with what used to satisfy you. They may mislabel your isolation as distance, or your elevation as arrogance. But stay focused. Don't try to drag old connections into new territory. Everyone can't come. Everything can't stay. The shift isn't meant to please people. It's meant to prepare you. And when the dust settles, when clarity returns, when the weight of confusion lifts, you'll see that the stillness was actually sacred, that what looked like a delay was actually a divine detour, that what felt like standing still was actually you being placed precisely where you were meant to be. The unknown is a place of possibility. It doesn't always feel like that at first. In fact, the unknown can be terrifying, disorienting, and lonely. It challenges our sense of control and security. It exposes the part of us that still wants to see the full map before we take a single step. But in the journey of faith, the unknown is not a void. It is a canvas. It's not an absence of direction. It's an invitation to trust without borders. The unknown is where the miraculous is born, because it's where our ability ends and something far greater begins. We often say we believe in new beginnings, but we don't always want the discomfort that comes with them. Stepping into the unknown means leaving behind certainty, predictability, and safety. But safety is not the same as purpose. You can be safe and still unfulfilled. You can be comfortable and still misaligned. The unknown stretches you. It pulls you beyond what you thought you were capable of. It calls you to live not by sight, but by faith. Because when you walk by faith, you walk into places you've never seen, trusting that provision will meet you there. The unknown requires you to leave the familiar shore and step into waters that look deep, wide, and overwhelming. You might not know where the next step leads, but you're not called to understand the whole journey. You're called to move. And with every uncertain step, something begins to shift inside you. Fear gives way to trust. Doubt gives way to boldness. Worry gives way to peace, not because the circumstances are clearer, but because you start to recognize that you are being carried by something greater than your understanding. That even when you don't know what's ahead, there is something working in your favor, guiding your steps with purpose. Some of the greatest moments in your life will begin in uncertainty. The dream you can't quite explain, the opportunity that scares you, the door that opens when you feel the least prepared. These are not accidents. They are assignments. And they often arrive wrapped in discomfort. Because the unknown isn't just about what's coming next. It's about who you are becoming in the process. It's about learning to rely less on what you see and more on what you believe. It's about releasing the need for control and learning to rest in confidence that you're being led by a wisdom far beyond your own. The unknown is where destiny unfolds. If you could see every detail, you wouldn't need courage. But courage is built in the places where you must act before you feel ready, believe before you see results, and trust even when the outcome is uncertain. These moments stretch your faith, not to break you, but to build you. They make room for your character to grow, for your vision to expand, and for your dependence to deepen. They strip away false security and awaken real strength. What you feared becomes fuel. What once felt like a risk now feels like revelation. Because every step you take into the unknown reveals a new side of your calling. You're not being thrown into confusion, you're being led into creativity. The unknown doesn't mean you're lost. It means you've entered a new realm of possibility where the old rules don't apply and the familiar strategies don't work. This is where fresh ideas are born. This is where innovation is birthed. This is where you are free to be more than what your past defined. So don't resist the unknown. Don't run back to what's easy just because it's comfortable. Easy never changed the world. Comfortable never brought transformation. Embrace the mystery. Lean into the tension. Let go of the need to have all the answers, and trust that you're stepping into something intentional. The unknown is not your enemy. It's the threshold of your next chapter. And even though it feels uncertain, it is fully aligned with what you were created to walk in. Your future is not hiding from you. It's waiting for you to have the faith to move toward it, even when the details aren't clear. The unknown is simply the space where purpose reveals itself, one step at a time. Your identity is evolving with your journey. Who you are today is not who you were yesterday, and it will not be who you are tomorrow, shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. You are not static, you are not fixed. You are being refined, stretched, elevated. There is something happening within you that goes deeper than your circumstances, deeper than your surroundings. It is the transformation of your character, your mindset, and your spirit. There are seasons in life that require a version of you that has yet to emerge, and that can feel intimidating. When you sense that you're being called higher, but you still feel tethered to who you used to be, there's a tension you can't quite explain. You begin to feel disconnected from old habits, conversations, and even relationships that once felt essential. It's not that you're better than anyone, it's that you've outgrown the space that once defined you. Growth doesn't come to shame the past. It comes to invite you into your future. And that invitation will always require a choice, to stay as you are or to become who you're being called to be. When you are in a season of transition, identity shifts can feel uncomfortable. You may find yourself wondering, who am I now? Or where do I fit? These questions are not signs of confusion, they are signs of awakening. You are beginning to peel off the labels that life tried to place on you. Labels that said you're not enough, not ready, not capable. Labels that were rooted in fear, failure, or the opinions of others. But now, something deeper is rising within you. A voice that says, there's more in you. A whisper that calls you to step into the unfamiliar with boldness. Not because you've mastered everything, but because you're willing to be molded. As your journey unfolds, you will start to notice a divine pattern. Every new level requires a new level of surrender. Every new responsibility demands a deeper version of trust. And every time you are stretched beyond your comfort zone, you're being prepared for greater influence, greater clarity, greater purpose. The journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you truly are, stripping away the layers that life, fear, and comparison have added, returning to the truth that your worth is not based on performance, appearance, or perfection, but on purpose. You'll begin to see that certain things no longer satisfy. What once brought you joy may now feel empty. This isn't a crisis, it's growth. Your identity is aligning with your calling, and your appetite is changing because your assignment is shifting. The conversations that once fueled you may now drain you. The environments you once celebrated may now feel limiting. This is a sign that your internal landscape is changing. You are being prepared to carry something weightier, and to do that you must become stronger, not just externally, but internally. This strength is forged in the fire of surrender, in the stillness of waiting, and in the courage of obedience. There will be moments when the process feels invisible, when no one else sees the work happening within you, when you can't quite articulate what's changing, but you know you can't go back. These are sacred moments. This is when your roots grow deeper. This is where your foundation is solidified. It's in the unseen that your identity is fortified, not by applause or recognition, but by revelation, and from that revelation comes resilience, a quiet, steady strength that doesn't need validation to stand firm. This evolving identity isn't a departure from who you are. It's a return to who you were created to be. Every experience, every loss, every victory, every trial, they have all played a role in shaping you, not to break you, but to build you. And now you are being called to rise, to walk in a deeper confidence, to speak with greater authority, to love with more compassion. Because the version of you that's emerging is prepared for this next chapter. The old mindset can't come. The fear can't stay. The doubt has to go. You are stepping into alignment with the fullness of who you were always meant to be. There is beauty in the turning of the page. At first glance, it might not seem that way. Pages often turn with pain, confusion, or the quiet ache of letting go. We don't always get to finish a chapter the way we hoped. Sometimes the page turns abruptly. Sometimes it turns slowly, so slowly that we wonder if anything is changing at all. But whether sudden or gradual, the turning of the page is a sacred movement. It is not an erasing of the past, but a fulfillment of it. The beauty is not just in the new chapter itself. It's in the act of moving forward. It's in the decision to trust that the story is not over. It's in the courage it takes to believe that there's more ahead than what's been left behind. So many people stay stuck on the same page out of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of loss. They reread the same lines over and over again, hoping for a different outcome, wishing they could rewrite it. But the story cannot progress until you allow it to. Healing cannot come until you release what hurt you. Joy cannot rise until you let go of the sorrow you've been holding on to. The page won't turn itself. It requires your willingness. And that willingness often begins in brokenness. It begins in the moment you realize that holding on to the past is costing you your future. Turning the page is not just about walking into something new. It's about choosing not to live in what was. It's choosing to see the past not as a prison, but as preparation. The old chapter has done its work. It has taught you, shaped you, revealed things in you that you could not have seen any other way. But now it's time for that chapter to rest. It's time for your heart to hope again. The beauty is not just in what's coming, it's in who you're becoming because of the turning. Each time you release what no longer fits, you make space for something greater. Each time you trust enough to turn the page, you demonstrate a strength that cannot be shaken. Some pages turn with celebration, others with sorrow. But both are part of the story. Both are necessary. One cannot exist without the other. The joy of one season is often rooted in the pain of the last. The fulfillment you are about to walk into is connected to the endurance you developed when things didn't make sense. You wouldn't appreciate the mountaintop if you hadn't walked through the valley. You wouldn't recognize peace if you hadn't tasted the storm. The beauty of the new chapter is intensified by the reality of what you've survived to reach it. This moment right now, this turning of the page, is holy. It means you're alive. It means the story is still being written. It means that no matter how many setbacks you've experienced, they don't get the final word. The same hand that walked with you through the dark is writing something new for your light. The shift you feel in your spirit, that quiet pull toward something more, is not your imagination. It's the beginning of the next sentence, the opening of a new paragraph, a divine breath being placed at the end of the old, so that something fresh can begin. You are allowed to dream again. You are allowed to expect good things. You are allowed to believe that this next season can be filled with peace, joy, and clarity. You are not being naive. You are being restored. Hope is not a weakness. It's a weapon. And as the page turns, you must hold onto hope with both hands, not because you know what's coming, but because you know you weren't meant to stay stuck. The same way a book moves from chapter to chapter, your life was designed to grow, to unfold, to progress. Every new page is an opportunity. Every transition is a doorway. Every next step is a declaration that you believe the story isn't finished. You may not have all the answers. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a requirement for movement. All you need is willingness. All you need is faith enough to say yes to what's next. The beauty is in the bravery. It's in the simple act of turning the page, trusting that the next words will meet you with grace, strength, and a greater purpose than the ones before. As we stand together today, I want to remind you that every single one of you is on a journey, and that journey is unfolding exactly as it should. The chapters you've lived, the transitions you've faced, and the unknowns you've encountered, they're all part of a greater story that is still being written. There is beauty in every ending, and more importantly, there is incredible promise in every new beginning. Even when the road is unclear, remember that you are not stuck. You are being shifted, being prepared, being molded into a version of yourself that you never thought possible. The unknown is not a place of fear. It's a place of limitless possibility, where your future awaits, shaped by your courage and faith. As your identity continues to evolve, know that you are growing into someone extraordinary. Every experience you've walked through has been purposeful, every step of the way building strength, character, and resilience. The person you are becoming is exactly who you were always meant to be, and the journey is not only refining you, but positioning you for the incredible things ahead. And remember, there is immense beauty in the turning of the page, the turning worth embracing with an open heart, knowing that the next chapter holds something new, something good, and something worth embracing with an open heart. I want to thank you for allowing me to share this time with you today. It is an honor to walk with you in this season of growth, faith, and transformation. May you always remember that no matter where the journey takes you, you are not alone, and your story is still unfolding in ways you may never fully see, but always trust is working out for your good. Thank you, and may peace, joy, and new beginnings fill every chapter of your life.